Hi everyone, my name is Daniel and I'm here today to talk to you about Kinetico's K5 reverse osmosis drinking station. Before we get into the features of the K5 drinking water station, I would like to address as to the reason why you should invest in your water. There are four factors to consider. First is tap water. Tap water is considered pollutable as it follows federal regulation, but it means that it's the minimum requirement of what drinking water could be. Tap water potentially has a number of different impurities present that we should not be ingesting. First is TDS, or total dissolved solids. These are dissolved minerals that affect overall taste. Federal regulation considers 500 parts per million of TDS potable. Purified water is 50 parts per million or less. As you can see, that is a significant difference between the water quality. We also have chlorine and chlorine byproducts from the municipal treatment plant. This is a chemical and oxidizing agent that we should not be consuming. This chemical is in pool water, so it should not be in your everyday drinking water. There are also VOCs, volatile organic compounds. These refer to pharmaceuticals, herbicides, pesticides, paints, and other contaminants. These chemicals easily get into our source water, local residents flushing old pharmaceuticals down the drain, cleaning supplies, agricultural runoff, washing herbicides and pesticides. It all flows into our source water and are not effectively removed by the municipal treatment plant. As you can see, given the potential contaminants tap water has, it is not good for your overall health, which brings us to our next point. Consumers today filter their water in some form or another, usually Brita or fridge filters, because they are concerned about the water they are consuming. Unfortunately, these filters are not effective in removing most contaminants. The K5 drinking water station gives you peace of mind with 24/7 access to purified water, no longer questioning what you are consuming today, tomorrow, and in the future. Unfortunately, a lot of people are still buying bottled water as an alternative choice to tap water, but bottled water is questionable. Recently, there was an article released that tested several top brands of bottled water. The results were that 93% of the samples contained some sort of microplastic, including polypropylene and nylon. Bottled water is also not good for the environment. Not only during production, but also these bottles end up in our landfills, oceans, and rivers. One set of the K5 filter replaces 3,784 plastic bottles. Now, given that we were talking about bottled water, I just wanted to show you a comparison of what consumers are spending today purchasing bottles of water. And I'll preface this first by saying that one set of filters on the K5 drinking water station runs for 500 gallons. Now, we do have a few different brands on here. We have Evian and Nestle, which are considered spring water. Spring water is not considered purified as it does have a high TDS count. But we do have Aquafina and Dasani, which are considered purified, as well as distilled cooler jugs. Now, in order to get 500 gallons of water out of Evian, you would need to purchase 630 cases. A case of water costs about $8.87 with a 60-cent environmental fee, which works out to about $5,966. To do a comparison against purified water, Aquafina cases come in about 12 bottles per case, sell for about $3.98 a case with a $1.20 environmental fee. You would need to purchase 315 cases, which would work out to about $1,631. In terms of the distilled cooler jugs, one cooler jug has about 18.5 liters, sells for about $6.48 with a 25-cent environmental fee. You would need to purchase 102 of those distilled cooler jugs, which would work out to about $686. So as you can see, purchasing bottled water is not very economical, but it's also not good for the environment. In addition to that, it doesn't give you peace of mind to the quality of water that you are getting. One is because a lot of people buy Evian and Nestle with the assumption that it is purified water when it's not. But at the same time, even if you are purchasing Aquafina or Dasani or those cooler jugs, you still have potential of having microplastics in the water. Now, what I would like to mention is that the K5 drinking water station is system certified through WQA, or the Water Quality Association. This gives consumers confidence that the product that they're purchasing is tested and verified. Everything we write and claim is true and accurate, and all the materials used cannot leach back into the filtered water. and our filtration claims are tested and verified. The K5 has two certifications. The first one is for microbiological water purifiers. The K5 is certified to remove viruses and bacteria when it's paired with our bacteria guard and the air charge tank. The other certification that we have is for reverse osmosis drinking water systems, and the K5 is on here twice. The first one is with our air charge tank, and it's certified to produce RO water. The second one is the K5 with our WOW tank, and that is also certified to produce RO water. Now, if you're curious about what claims we make in terms of reduction, you can see it here on the right-hand side, but you also can visit the link down below, and you can actually see all of the certifications that Kinetico has on all of their products. So the next following slides is focusing on the features and benefits that make the K5 different than any other traditional RO system on the market. All of these topics that I'm going to be talking about are extremely important in not only guaranteeing the quality of water that is being served at your faucet, but also just general extension of the life of the system and getting the full value of what an RO unit can offer you. Now the K5 has a 7-stage protection to ensure the quality of water that we're giving to consumers when it comes out of the faucet. Your first stage is a pre-filter. We have a reverse osmosis membrane, 2 flex filters, your storage WOW tank, a post filter, and then your lead-free faucet. Now, I'll go into a little bit more detail in the following slides of what each stage offers these consumers. But I also want to mention that standard process to reverse osmosis or purification is essentially a 3-stage filtration where you have a pre-filter your membrane and then a post-filter. Now, on top of the 7-stage protection that we're offering consumers when we're giving quality of water, there are a number of features that come with this unit that really extend the life of the filters, but also give an overall experience of what quality of water you can get out of this system. Consumers are really getting the best value for their money when they buy the K5 because of all these features that they offer. Now, we'll quickly go over them in this slide, but the following slides also go in a little bit more detail. Now, the first one is the EverClean Rinse. We have a quick disconnect, which allows you to change those filters easily, consumer usable. The pre-filter, a membrane, your flex filters, as I mentioned in the previous slide, your post filter, the mat guard shutoff, and then of course the purometer. The EverClean Rinse is a unique feature to the K5 drinking water station. It is a patent design that cleans the reverse osmosis membrane. Every time the unit makes purified water and fills your storage tank, it uses some of that permeate water to clean the membrane. This allows for a higher quality water production with less filter changes. The consumer has peace of mind of the quality water that they're receiving is always consistent and pure because that membrane is always clean. The K5 membrane will be warranted for 10 years when paired with a Kinetico softener, so you do not replace this filter for 10 years. Now, traditional RO units do not have this feature, so they request that you change your membrane every 6 to 12 months. The reason being is because it is a filter, so as water is passing through, it is catching impurities. And if you do not replace that filter, what happens is the impurities can pass through and contaminate your drinking water. The purometer is a filter life indicator to let consumers know when a filter change is needed. Now, the filters in the K5 drinking water station run for 500 gallons except for the membrane. Now, the K5 unit is a fully mechanical metered system. So as the water is passing through, the purometer will actually meter out your water usage, and as it does so, it will continually drop down. At some point, it will fully drop down and close the water flow, which tells the consumer it's time to replace the filters. The benefit with this is that you're only replacing filters when needed and based off your usage. Traditional RO units do not work off this same concept. They work off a time-based system and request that you change your filters every 6 to 12 months. The downside with this is that you could be changing filters either prematurely or too late. The first filter in the K5 drinking water station is the pre-filter. The pre-filter prepares the water for the membrane. Its intent is to remove any chlorine from the municipal treatment plant, but also acts as a sediment filter to remove any particulate matter. Now, this filter has a 500-gallon life, so when the purometer drops down, that is when you need to change this filter. Now, traditional RO units will typically ask you to replace this filter every 6 to 12 months. The membrane in the K5 drinking water station is really the filter that's doing the purification. It's intended to remove any inorganic contaminants such as TDS or total dissolved solids. And if you recall earlier, potable water has a TDS count of 500 parts per million, where purified water is 50 parts per million or less. So this filter is really doing the job in reducing that TDS count. Now, because of the EverClean rinse, this filter is always clean every time we go into production. And on top of that, we actually warranty the membrane for 10 years when paired with a Kinetico softener. Traditional RO units do not offer this. They typically request that you replace the filter every 6 to 12 months because it is a filter. And as impurities get caught in that filter and you don't change it, those contaminants can pass through and contaminate your drinking water. Now, the membrane in the K5 has a micron size of 0.001. And to better understand what a 0.001 is on a scale, you can look at this chart here. And essentially anything, a 0.001 on the scale sits around here. So essentially anything on this side of the chart is filtered out by a reverse osmosis membrane. Now we've gone through the pre-filter and the membrane, and the next stage in the K5 is what we call flex filtration. And this feature here is really unique for the K5 as well, because it gives the consumer the opportunity to customize the water, not only for today, but for the future. So, the unit will come standard with 3 filters, which is the pre-filter, the membrane, and the post-filter. But if you, say, install that unit with just those 3 filters right now, and in 5 years' time, you have something that has contaminated your drinking water and you need further protection, you can add in what's called a flex filter to basically give you purified water and deal with those issues. The flex filters also run for a 500-gallon life. So again, when that purometer meters out the water usage and drops down, it is time to replace those filters as well. So again, only replacing them when necessary. There are a total of 7 different flex filter options, which we'll go over in the next couple slides here. The first 2 flex filters that I want to discuss with you is the Perfectovirus Bacteria Guard and the VOC Guard. The Perfecto Guard is a third-party certified filter that can be added into the unit. It is certified to remove 99.9999% of bacteria and 99.99% of viruses. If you recall back earlier when we were discussing certifications, the K5 drinking water station is certified to create biopure drinking water when the perfected filter is in the unit, as well as when it's combined with our air charge tank. The VOC guard is a filter guard that can be added in for protection against VOCs. VOCs, if you recall, is pharmaceuticals, herbicides, pesticides, paints, and cleaning agents. All of these chemicals can potentially get into our water, and if you do have these chemicals, you can add the VOC guard for protection. The next 2 flex filter options are the Mineral Plus and the Chloramine Guard. The Mineral Plus is a filter that you can add into the unit. It's an option for consumers who want to add a little bit of minerals back into their drinking water. It's a combination of calcium and magnesium. The Chloramine Guard is a filter that's added in for protection against chloramines. Some municipalities use chloramines as their treatment process, which is a combination of chlorine and ammonia. The K5 will remove chlorine, but in order to protect against the ammonia aspect, you should be adding this filter in. Now the last 3 filters in the flex filter lineup is the perchlorate, arsenic, and high purity filter. The high purity filter is not shown on this slide, but we will touch on it. So the perchlorate guard is used for applications that have perchlorate present in the water, and perchlorate is a byproduct produced from manufacturing plants. The arsenic guard you would use if you had arsenic 3 in your water. The K5 membrane is designed to remove arsenic 5, but for arsenic 3 we need to add in this second filter. Now the high purity filter is a DI resin filter, and that's designed to reduce your TDS count almost to 0. And that is giving you basically laboratory grade water. We only use this filter in situations if the K5 is being installed into a dentist office or some sort of laboratory setting. It's not designed for general consumption and drinking water. So as you can see, the K5 is very customizable. You can add in essentially any flex filter that you want to basically tailor your water to whatever needs you have. And this is always changeable, so you can always change these filters out later on in the future or add filters in. Now, all of these flex filters run for 500 gallons. So remember, with the purometer, it's metering out your water usage. So you only change these filters when necessary and when you need to do that. So when you change your pre and post filter, you would also change your flex filters at the same time. The only filter that stays is the membrane, which will have a 10-year life with soft water. So every RO system has a storage tank, and the reason being is because the production of making purified water or RO water is actually very slow. It's almost like a fast trickle. So every RO unit will come with a storage tank that holds your pure water for when you turn on the faucet, it'll pull from that reserve. Now the K5 tank is different and unique in its own. It's called a water on water or a quick flow tank. And the reason being is because it actually uses your household water pressure to push the water out of that tank. What that allows it to do is actually give you a higher flow rate and a consistent flow rate. So the flow doesn't actually start to decrease until that bladder is almost empty. And the other benefit too, because of the flow rate that's produced on the unit, you actually can install this unit in your basement and connect it to multiple outlets. So if you want to connect it to a fridge line or if you want to connect it to another bar tap in the basement, you can do that with one system with the K5. Traditional storage tanks use what's called an air charge pressure tank. And those typically have to be installed under your sink because the flow of the air pressure is not strong enough to send it longer distances and to multiple outlets. The last filter in the K5 drinking water station is the post filter. The post filter is a polishing filter before the water comes out of your faucet. When you turn on your faucet, it will pull your pure water from the storage tank, run through this filter, and then into your glass. Now this filter here is tied into the pyrometer, and if you recall, the pyrometer meters your water usage. So this filter does have a 500-gallon life. As you use your water, the pyrometer will begin to drop. Once it fully drops, your water flow will stop, and it's time to replace your filters. So the final stage on the K5 is the faucet. All of Kinetico's faucets are lead-free, which is important when you're using RO water. You don't want to use any just type of regular faucet just because there are components in there that could leach into the water and obviously is not good for your overall consumption. So these ones here are all lead-free, and then Kinetico's faucets do have a lineup of different colors available, so you're not limited to just the 3 that are shown here. But these are the 2 different styles. This one here is the designer faucet, and then these ones here are the contemporary faucets. So quite a diverse different, so you can really match whatever is going on in the kitchen. If you want different colors, different styles, that is available with the unit. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it was helpful in understanding the common issues that we have with tap water, but also to help you better understand what your drinking water could be and the features that the K5 can offer you, not only today, but tomorrow and for the future.